It began with something so quiet most viewers missed it, a tiny update tucked inside the official royal family website. The kind of digital housekeeping no one notices, unless they're watching very closely. For years, that site displayed long, polished biographies for every working royal, education, charities, honors, personal details designed to make each figure look noble and relatable. Yet on October 1st, 2025, sharp-eyed watchers spotted a change. The pages for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle weren't refreshed, they were gutted. Entire sections vanished. Details about Meghan's supposed dual degree at Northwestern gone. That often debated internship in Argentina gone. Even minor anecdotes about Harry's school record at Eton quietly disappeared. What remained was sterile, a short note calling Meghan a former actress best known for Suits and a brief line about her lifestyle blog. Harry's page kept only plain facts, stripped of color or history. At first glance, it looked like routine maintenance, but on closer inspection, it was damage control. The monarchy knows what tabloids and researchers have long known, that parts of Meghan's past don't hold up under scrutiny, and that Harry's education once drew internal controversy. By deleting, not defending, the palace sent a subtle message. We're done standing behind these details. They offered no correction, no press note, no clarification. They simply erased. Which naturally raises one question: why now? The answer seems rooted in Meghan's relentless tendency to rewrite her own story. She has retold episodes so many times that her version often replaces the record. Take her claim about attending Grad Night 99 at Disneyland, a nostalgic anecdote she shared proudly. But her school confirmed there was no such trip that year. Attendance was too low, it never happened. If anyone went, they paid privately, separate from the event she describes. Or consider the Argentina story. Meghan loves to recall her U.S. Embassy internship, describing elegant dinners and evening tango scenes. Staff who were actually there tell a very different story. Her stay wasn't an official placement. Her uncle, a government employee, arranged permission for her to shadow diplomats for a short stint. The year 2002 also brought riots and economic collapse to Buenos Aires. Diplomats were under travel restrictions, not sipping wine at late-night concerts. Even her much-discussed academics wobble under inspection. She's repeated that she graduated from Northwestern with dual majors in theater and international relations. The issue? Northwestern doesn't offer an international relations major, only international studies. Records also suggest she missed her final semester altogether. She isn't in the 2003 graduation yearbook, and staff recall her being absent that term. Harry has his own soft spots. Rumors around his Eton years have circled for decades. Tutors allegedly ghostwriting art essays so he could pass. One teacher who admitted to helping too much lost her job and later filed a claim saying she'd been scapegoated for revealing the truth. If accurate, Harry might never have qualified for Sandhurst without assistance, and yet, through royal influence, he was admitted without question. Put together, the quiet deletions look strategic. Rather than refuting controversy line by line, the palace simply pulled the plug on anything unverifiable. What remains online are sanitized footnotes, precisely the amount of biography they're willing to defend. But of course, scrubbing invites new curiosity. If nothing was wrong, why erase it? Why leave Catherine or Sophie's pages intact while hollowing out the Sussexes? Because every unchanged line can be fact-checked, and right now fact-checking isn't their friend. Amid all that digital house cleaning, another moment caught public eyes and hearts. At Windsor, Prince William spoke openly about missing his grandmother. It wasn't staged PR, it felt spontaneous, every word echoing genuine devotion. In one short speech, he managed to project what the royal brand relies on most: authenticity. That single scene contrasted sharply with how his brother's stories fell apart under even mild investigation. William doesn't need embellishment. His power comes from consistency. Meghan and Harry, by contrast, keep getting tangled in their own embroidery. Take Meghan's dual degree again. For years, it served as proof she was more than another actress, a scholar with global awareness. But when Northwestern itself provides no confirmation, and colleagues remember only a theater major, the fiction unravels. Alumni quietly mentioned she wasn't on campus at graduation. It's not some harmless oversight, it's rewriting credentials. Yet the claim sat on the royal website for years before vanishing. Harry's educational myth followed similar lines. His uneven performance at Eton was common knowledge among insiders. Rumors of ghost-written coursework prompted questions that the palace never wanted repeated. Sandhurst requires top academic marks. Somehow Harry got through, assisted by what critics call the royal machinery. A teacher's dismissal and subsequent settlement lend the old rumor weight. Fast forward to 2025, the year the royal pages abruptly change. The Sussexes have become global commentators, giving interviews, running media projects, inserting themselves into every cultural conversation. Meghan repeats high school nostalgia tales, Argentina adventure stories, and motivational lessons tied to her international background. Each retelling invites comparison and fact-checking, and each check exposes another inconsistency. The palace's choice to delete instead of defend says more than any statement could. For a monarchy obsessed with legacy, it reveals internal acceptance that some lines simply can't withstand scrutiny. Easier to remove than to explain. Compare those cuts with the unedited pages of Catherine, Princess of Wales, or Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Their entries remain thorough, full education details, work history, charity affiliations. Every element verifiable. No contradictions, no need for revisions. That contrast becomes the quiet headline. Two biographies trimmed to the bone, two left intact. The message couldn't be clearer to anyone reading between the lines. The broader implication affects Meghan's entire brand. Her global appeal was built on being self-made, educated, and worldly. Those Argentina anecdotes, the embassies, the dual degree, they were evidence of sophistication. Remove them, and what remains is a simpler, humbler story, a California actress who succeeded through persistence and hustle. That's admirable, but Meghan never sold humble. She sold exceptional. Harry's image depends on balance. Rebellious, but respectable, soldier yet son of Diana. When old academic shortcuts resurface beside newer controversies, that balance fractures. Combined, their myths now look less like inspiration and more like marketing. The palace knows memory is short, but the internet permanent. Screenshots, archives, and videos preserve every discrepancy. By pruning potentially false details, they reduce future ammunition. The fewer provable misstatements, the fewer crises later. It's risk management disguised as modernization. But ironically, each deletion validates critics who long claimed the fairy tale Sussex story was built on sand. Editing away Harry and Meghan's histories doesn't only protect the institution, it exposes how that institution operates. The royal family has always mastered selective memory. They spotlight triumphs, bury embarrassments, and expect the public to accept the official record. What makes 2025 different is how nakedly digital the cleanup appears. With one click, they signaled distance from a couple once hailed as modern royalty. Harry was Diana's lively, human son, the relatable spare. Meghan was the modern outsider's dream, representing diversity and change. Together, they were supposed to refresh the firm. Now, the system that once celebrated them treats them as liabilities. You can see it in comparisons. Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice have also stepped back, yet their absence causes no stir. They live quiet, verifiable lives. There are no embellished tales of special programs abroad or invented degrees. Their pages stayed simple because their stories never needed polishing. By contrast, the Sussex purge feels deliberate, even punitive, a statement of lost faith. The reason it hurts Meghan most is that her brand relies on relatability wrapped in aspiration. To discover that parts of that image crumble under basic checks damages credibility far more than gossip about fashion budgets or interviews ever could. Each disproved anecdote stitches another patch to what critics call the myth of Meghan. Consider the dominoes. Graduation myth. School says no Disneyland trip. Internship myth. Insiders call it family favoritism. Degree myth. University records contradict. Individually small, but together they frame pattern, not accident. For Harry, deletion reopens old doubts. Whether his education was smooth to suit optics, whether his Sandhurst admission followed merit or monarchy. While no one questions his service or bravery, the foundation beneath feels revised. When the palace erases that background rather than clarifying, it tacitly confirms vulnerability. Mainstream outlets once tiptoed around these inconsistencies, partly out of sympathy, partly because Sussex headlines sold. But patience for contradiction wanes fast online. Alumni groups, teachers, and embassy officials now post receipts, photos, and memos disproving half-remembered tales. And every time new evidence drops, critics don't need to shout. They just point toward the palace's own silent edits as Exhibit A. For audiences, it reshapes trust. For years, Harry and Meghan argued they left because of mistreatment and bias, claims that certainly hold elements of truth. Yet when personal stories collapse, the larger accusation loses force. When someone exaggerates a resume, publics start questioning the rest. Meanwhile, the palace takes the long view. They're not fighting through press wars or press statements. They're letting time do the heavy lifting. Erase, archive, move on. It's a tactic that's worked for royal scandals for generations. But today's digital world complicates that old formula. Screenshots endure. Commentators on YouTube and X untangle timelines relentlessly. Every edit becomes another clue. The monarchy can delete online text, but they can't delete servers or memories. What we're left with are two reputations reshaped by scrutiny. Meghan wanted to be acknowledged as worldly, intellectual, self-made. Strip away the myths and you see a determined actress who climbed through talent and persistence, ordinary success, not mythic triumph. Harry wanted to remain the gallant soldier prince, proof that royalty could be human. But questions about academic shortcuts remind us that privilege smoothed his path as much as courage did. Those revelations don't make them villains, they make them human. The tragedy is that humanity isn't the image they chose to sell. They sold legend, and legends crumble once inconsistencies appear. The royal website updates therefore act as both shield and signal. Shield, because they protect the crown from future embarrassment. Signal, because they tell the world that the institution is stepping away from these narratives for good. In flat language, brief lines about acting careers and military service, the monarchy essentially says, these are the only facts we endorse. Compare that restraint to the way Meghan continues to speak publicly. Every podcast, every interview, every column reshapes her biography yet again, giving fact-checkers fresh material. The palace, weary of chasing correction, has chosen silence as strategy. Look closer, though, and the deletions reveal something about the Windsors themselves. They remain masters of controlled storytelling. In an era of digital permanence, editing a website is the modern version of burning letters. What isn't posted can't be quoted in the next controversy. For royal historians, this shift marks a new chapter in crisis management, moving from denial to deletion. It's no longer never complain, never explain. It's never confirm, just remove. Still, deletion has limits. The internet remembers. Old bios exist on archived caches. Screenshots circulate endlessly. Future historians will piece together the vanished paragraphs and note exactly when faith in the Sussex experiment evaporated. The bigger question is what comes next. Without the palace's halo, Meghan and Harry must stand on their own claims, and right now those claims need rebuilding. If contrition or transparency ever replaces defensiveness, the public might soften. But if conspiracies and revisions continue, the silence of the crown will grow louder by comparison. In the end, those website edits are far more than housekeeping. They mark a subtle but decisive break, the moment the monarchy finally stepped back and let two once-favored figures face the weight of their own storytelling. Within a family built entirely on narrative, that loss of narrative support is the harshest punishment of all.